Hey, this is Mizayu. What's up? Do you have a grandparent that is still alive? Do you have a grandmother, grandfather? All of us have two grandmothers, two grandfathers. Some of us have step grandfathers, step grandmothers. Some of us have grandmother and grandfather in laws. But a grandmother and grandfather, in my opinion, is a mentor. It's your first mentor, your first trusted counselor. I had no clue the importance of a grandparent. I had no clue how a grandparent felt about a child that is not theirs, but it is theirs. It's a second generation child. And the love and admiration that a grandparent has for their grandchild, it's unmeasurable. I believe grandparents have more love for their grandchildren than the parent for those children. That's just the way I feel. That's from I'll say from my experience. Also, now being a grandfather for the last 13 years, it's a sense of pride comes over you, a sense of belongingness, a sense of, I guess that's why they call it grandparents. You're not a parent, you're a grandparent. You're not a master, you're a grandmaster, right? So if you have a grandparent, this is what I'll advise you to do. I'll advise you to don't take your grandparent for granted and speak to them about life. Talk to them. That is one thing I didn't have the opportunity to do with my grandparents. My grandparents are all gone. They're all gone to heaven. Incidentally, I had two beautiful grandmothers, Pearl and Doris. However, I had more than two grandfathers. I had grandfather Cyril, I had grandfather Basil, I had grandfather Felix, I had grandfather George Harris. So I had four grandfathers and two grandmothers. And now I look back in time being a grandparent. I mean, they gave me unconditional love. They gave me, and we took it for granted. I would say me and my sister, we took it for granted, right? Because it's human nature. You know, first of all, they're older than our parents. Some of them are twice older than our parents. I remember when I first hung out with my grandparents, I was like a rebel because here my mom and dad, these two nice young people, dropped us off to these two old ladies. At the time they weren't old, but they were much older than my parents, right? They were their parents. So I'm like, why they dropped us off with these old ladies here? And they were strict. They had discipline. I mean, they had urgency. They were persistent. But where am I getting at? Where am I getting at with grandparents? If you have grandparents, you need to talk to your grandparents. Ask your grandparents a couple of things. Because if I had mine today, this is what I'd be doing. So anytime I meet grandmothers or grandfathers, I meet someone that's my senior, older than I am by 2 or 3 decades. They have so much jewels. They have so much wisdom. They have so much experience that we can learn from, for the simple fact that they went through that life journey. And if we really adhere to our grandparents and embrace them, we can shorten our learning curve, number one. We can learn much rapidly. We can learn a lot more, and we can apply more and become more because of our grandparents. So I speak to grandparents because I have a lot of clients that are older, and I tend to pick their brains. So my point to you here today is, especially you young folks, especially you folks who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, who are aspiring for wisdom, who's aspiring to bring the best version out of yourself. Those that is looking to be business owners and VPs and CEOs and leading others. You can get so much wealth of knowledge and experience, real, authentic, genuine experience from your grandparents. For those of us who doesn't have grandparents, like I don't, have a tendency of speaking to older folks, maybe at your church, at the community. I started to volunteer at different community outlets, if you will, where I'm able to speak to older folks who still have their faculties together, right? And I ask them sobering questions. I ask, hey, Mr. Johnson, if you was able to do it all over again, what would you do differently from what you had in your past? I'll ask them about their biggest regrets. I'll ask them what are the things that they would, if they had the opportunity to go back and fix it, what would that be? I'll ask them some of the things that what made them successful. What did they enjoy in life? And you can come up with your questions that you want to ask, because what I've learned is that we speak to those folks who have the experience, and they become our mentor or mentors. They're a trusted counselor. They know. They don't believe. They know. What I've learned from my mentors, who are much older than I am, is a number of them have regrets. A number of them can give us, a lot of them gave me information as to take more risk, go for it, step out in faith, believe in yourself. A lot of them tell me don't care about what others say. I mean, these things that we hear about, we read about in these different books and whatnot. Applying it is a whole different ballgame, because we don't have that belief. But when you speak to an older person, someone that's over 50, 60, 70, 80, I wish I had the opportunity to speak to someone like Sidney Poitier, who just died, right? He died at 98 or something like that. That guy got some knowledge. That guy got some wisdom. If I could have spent just 15 minutes with him, I'll have the right questions to ask him in that 15 minutes and just take down the answers. Writing them down, for a matter of fact, so I can apply them. And that's common sense, but it's not commonly practiced. Why not learn from someone who's gone through it already? I intend to live to 104, right? I haven't spoken to anyone. I haven't personally met. I read about them. I see them on the internet, or we hear about them, or somebody's family, or whatever, or they just passed. But I've never met someone personally that I can actually talk to, shake their hand, hug them, have a moment with them to converse. That's at least 100 years of age. I haven't gotten to that as yet. I'm looking for that person, right? Because I intend to live to 104. That's my number. And what I've learned from older folks is that if you just be teachable, coachable, and learnable from those professors, those elegant individuals, male or female, doesn't matter, white or black, Asian or Italian, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Age, seasoned, experience, you can't put money on that. Okay? No money can buy that. And what I've learned is that the older folks, those 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old individuals, they just want to share all their blessings. They just want to share all their wisdom. They want to share all their love, whether you know them or not. So when I go into stores and whatnot, I see an older person, I befriend them. I become a little friend of theirs for that short moment. Maybe just for 10 seconds, I run into somebody at a restaurant. Hey, how was that? Do you guys have a great time? Do you normally come here? What's the biggest thing you love about this restaurant? I'll ask them something. What I know is that from that one question, it goes off to another answer, because they're willing to just share their experiences, their thoughts, their gratitudes, their regrets, their successes, their failures. They just want to share their life. So put it in your arsenal starting today to R&D, rip off and duplicate. We tend to rip off and duplicating the folks we see on social media and all that stuff. Rip off and duplicate the older folks. My grandmother says she's not old, she's seasoned. She said, old stuff you throw away. She said, and I'm not old. I said, you're right, Grandma, we don't want to throw you away. She said she's seasoned. Find some seasoned individuals and ask them some sobering questions. Ask them the questions that you'd want to learn so it can shorten your learning curve, so you can have that life of abundance, so you can have that life of prosperity, so you can have that life of fulfillment. Life is all about fulfillment. And we can fulfill our life. That's why just a few young folks, a few of us, the 5%ers, the 10%ers, are living that fulfilled life. And we are amazed. Wow, she's so young. He's so young. He's that this, he's that. Whoa. No, they just learned how to rip off and duplicate. They just became coachable, teachable, and learnable and applied it, because that's wisdom. So I challenge you to outperform yesterday, today, fulfill your greatness, and start speaking to seasoned folks. And make sure you're taking a pad and a pen or recording them when you're talking to them, so you can take those jewels and you can apply them immediately. Peace and blessings. Yes.